Well, welcome to Lesson 3. Let's do a little review at the beginning here. You remember what the main 6 elements of an Excel spreadsheet are. Basically, you have the ribbon. That's the area up here. Then, of course, you have the workbook. The workbook is basically this entire center area here. And you can have different workbooks. For instance, you'll notice down here it says Sheet 1. That's actually Workbook 1. And I can just title this. If I right-click on it, a little menu comes up. I can click Rename. And then I can just type Donnie's Budget. And there you have it. We also talked about how at the bottom here there's a status bar. And not only so, but we have the formula bar up here in this text area. And if you ever need any help, you can just click on this. So if you want to know how to boldface something, you hit question mark, you wait a little bit, a little help box connects, and then you can just type in boldface, hit return, and it comes up with information about what you want to look at. Now it looks like it didn't recognize boldface as one word. Let's put a space in between and see if it actually comes up with something. And it doesn't. So I'm going to go ahead and we have to say to ourselves, okay, well, it doesn't know what boldface is. Let's try a different word. Format text. So we click on format text, and then information comes up according to what you typed in. Now, of course, with boldface, it didn't recognize that. That's interesting because if I go to the boldface little button right here, and let's just close this box, and I'll hover my mouse over it, it says bold. So sometimes what you can do is you can look at the particular vocabulary that's used by Excel by taking your mouse and scrolling over something. So there it says bold, so that means if I went back up here, clicked help, instead of said boldface, I said bold, I should get something. And voila. There's some information that comes up and gives you instructions, and you can click on any of these links in order to get more information. You click on edit the text inside a text box. If you click on that, it gives you some information. You can go ahead and read this information, and basically it'll help you on how to actually do the formatting. Now, I say this because as an educator, you're going to be asked all kinds of questions from your students that you don't know. And so a nice, easy answer to give when you don't know is, that's a great answer. That's a great question, student. Let me go ahead and find that out for you. Let's go to the question mark. Let's click here, and let's go ahead and type our question inside the help box. Okay, so we talked about the ribbon, we talked about the workbook, we talked about the status bar at the bottom, we talked about the worksheet in the middle, we talked about the formula bar, and we talked about the help. I hope those words just roll off your particular tongue. And in lesson 2, I hope the words cell, row, and column roll off your tongue. Now we're going to touch something called formulas. And this is where you have an opportunity to get creative with regard to your own work life and with regard to what you want to teach your students to become analytical thinkers. So here we have our budget again. You remember I've got my rent here, $500, gas here, $80, phone here, $100, car insurance, $100, medical bills, $120. And then that's my budget. In other words, these are the items that I feel I should stay within. Okay? And so how did I do that? Some of you are wondering, how did I highlight that? I took my mouse, I clicked on this, and I held the left mouse down, and I just pulled down with my mouse, and then I let go, and it highlights that. Remember that. You'll use that in the future. So in January, I already filled out some information. Let's go ahead and put some information for February. Rent, let's say it goes up to $600. Then gas, let's say it's $120, it stays. Phone, I use beyond my bandwidth for my Verizon wireless, and it goes up to $140. Car insurance stays at $80, and medical bills, got sick, had to get some prescriptions, $500. Okay, so I filled out February. You'll notice as you get into the mode, the rhythm, the momentum, the groove of using Excel, it's really a matter of thinking in terms of numbers and putting the numbers under the right column and in the right row. Now watch this. I can highlight an entire column like this, or entire set of numbers, I'm left clicking, I'm highlighting, and then I can do a right click and click on copy on the menu. And then what I can do is move my mouse to the next cell under March, right click, and I can click paste. And when I click paste, it puts in the numbers that were exactly there. And I can do that all the way down. So I'm not going to spend too much time going through all these areas, but I will go ahead and let's just copy our numbers for right now. And what we're going to do is we're going to change some of the numbers, but we won't change all of them because I'd like to show you how we can use formulas. So what I'm going to do for October, I'm going to change those numbers, but I'll keep November the same and I'll keep December the same. But October was a weird month. You know, rent stayed the same, but then gas just went through the roof. Phone went through the roof. Car insurance, it stayed the same at 80, but medical bills, let's say $1,100 were spent. Okay? So what's really nice now is you can use a formula. Now, Excel is basically a really nice calculator. And so look at this. I can highlight all of these, and then I'm going to take you to the Formula tab. And I want to get the sum of what my budget is, and so you can just go ahead and you can click on this symbol. It's the sum symbol. And what it does is it gives you the sum of all these numbers. And so I don't know if you saw that, but when I clicked the sum, it actually came up with this 900. So I'm going to click total here, and I'll do it again. I highlight all of these, then I click sum here, and what it does the math for me, and it adds an element under all of these rows. Okay, now there's another way you can do this. You can actually, if I want to sum all of these, I can type in here, and I can put equals sum, and you'll notice the word sum comes up here, and you can just go ahead and click on that, or you can just leave it as is, and then you can type open parentheses. Now I know some of you are going to think this is really techie, but actually it's really simple, and your students will get it right away. If you want to sum numbers, you just go to the cell where you want the sum to be, and then you just type in the cell numbers that you want to add up. And so this cell number is E because it's in the E column, and it's 6 because it's in the 6th row. Notice how when I just click on it, it actually puts E6 here. If I click on the next one, it says E7. So we want to add up E6 all the way to E10. So let's just go ahead and click here, E6, and then I'm just going to hold on to the right little square button, and I'm going to pull it all the way down to highlight all of those. And you'll notice it says equals sum E6 colon E10. I can then put a right parentheses, and you'll notice it's up here in the formula bar also. And then when I click on another cell, it transforms this formula into the sum of all of these numbers. Isn't that nice? Now, let's erase that. I could have done it a different way. I could have said equals sum, open paren, E6, comma, E7, comma, E8, comma, E9, comma, E10. That's basically adding all of these cells. And then I click away from it, and lo and behold, it doesn't do anything. Okay, so I thought it would add all of those. So let's do E sum parentheses. You'll notice down here it has numbers that you can go ahead and put here. I'll go ahead and just put the actual number 600, comma 120, comma 140, comma 80, comma 500. Parentheses, I click away, and it gives me the sum here. So if you put the actual numbers there, it'll actually sum things for you. It's a nice way to progressively introduce your students to using a formula. But if you want to add it using a simpler method, that is E6 all the way through E10, you don't use commas. You do equals, sum, E6, colon, E10, in parentheses, and then it adds it up for you. That's 120. So let's just do the rest of these really simple, and I'm going to do something, and let's see if this works. Excel is all about shortcuts. I'm going to highlight all of this, and I'm hoping it will put the sum of everything in the next row when I click sum here. So I'll click sum, and lo and behold, sure enough, it puts the sum all the way under these rows. So basically, that's a nice way of using formulas. So I want you to read through this portion, look at how to do formulas. Of course, if you go to this sum symbol up here at the top left, you can also do averages, the count of numbers. You can find the max, and you can find the min. And so there's actually lots of formulas you can do, but these basic simple formulas are really the ones in this lesson that you want to practice with. So you'll want to create an Excel spreadsheet, add some numbers, go ahead and then sum the numbers. And I want you also to begin thinking of how to use this in your classroom or professional life, because this is a 2-unit course or a 2 salary point or 2 PDU course. So the project at the end is going to be very important. So get these basics and begin thinking how to apply these in your work life. Thank you so much.